first six problems require that you knew a little bit of vocabulary, so you should be able to check the solution key. Or realistically, you should have been able to type whatever fragments were given to you into Google, and it probably would have given you the information or the answer if you didn't already have it in your head from our notes. Looking at problem 7. Problem 7 asks for us to find the measure of x. So we have to use our understanding of the vocabulary terms, which is why we refreshed with a few above, in order to solve. We know that we have a right angle identified here, and so that right angle tells us that something, these combination of these two angles will equal 90 degrees, because these two angles together are complementary angles. Complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So 90 will equal the value of the angle x plus the angle 3x degrees. Combine my like terms. 4x equals 90. And we will divide both sides by 4 and find that our x value is equal to 22.5. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and write 22.5 on this angle, because that angle is simply the value of x. Now this gives us two options. One, I can plug x value into this second expression, 3x, so 3 times 22.5, and get 67.5. Alternatively, I know that these two angles have to add up to 90 degrees, and this part down here, the lower angle, is already 22.5 degrees. So my 90 minus the 22.5 will give me the degree value for the remaining angle. Either way, I will learn that 67.5 is the degrees for that angle. Now this was a lot of review to show you how to completely solve for angle measures, but remember our question only asked us to find the measure of x. We did that down here, so our solution for this problem would have been 22.5. Number 8. Here I have a straight line, and because I have a straight line, I know that whatever I'm working with is going to equal 180 degrees, because a straight line is always 180 degrees. And I have two angles whose sums add up to 180 degrees, and since I have two angles whose sums add up to 180 degrees, I'm working with supplementary angles. So I can set them equal to 180. 2x minus 20 plus 6x. So now I will combine my like terms. 180 is equal to 2x, and 6x gives me 8x minus 20. This brings me to a two-step equation, so now I will add 20 to both sides. And we determine that 200 equals 8x. Last step, divide by 8. And we find that x is equal to 25. So up on my solution line, I would say x is equal to 25. Again, I could plug x in and find the degree measures, but we weren't asked to do that on this problem, so I was just doing a refresher on the previous problem, and we'll move on. This time, the problem asks for us to find the measure of the angles. All right. So I have 3 times x plus 5, and I have 6x minus 30. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this up right here first, because that's not a form that I'm normally used to dealing with vertical angles. So 3 times x would be 3x. 3 times 5 would be 15. So I'm going to deal with this expression. And remember that I have two angles that are across from each other. And since they are opposite angles, on intersecting lines that would make them vertical angles, and we see the V very clearly here. We know that vertical angles are always congruent, which means that they equal each other. So I'm going to put my equal sign first. And since they equal each other, I can set each expression equal to the opposite expression. So 3x plus 15 is equal to 6x minus 30. Anytime you have x's on both sides, you must remember that I want to take the smallest number and move it. So I'm going to subtract 3x from this side and subtract 3x from that side. And that will leave me with 3x minus 30 is equal to 15. Then the next step would be to add the 30 to both sides. So that will leave me with 15 and 30 is 45 is equal to 3x. And then our final step would be to divide by 3, where we find out that x is equal to 15 degrees. Well, now that I know what the value of x, and we're given some expressions with x, I can find out my solution. Because I'm going to plug x into this expression right here. 3 times x plus 5. Well, we just said x is 15, so 3 times 15 plus 5. 15 plus 5 is 20. So 20 times 3 would be 60 degrees. Since I have vertical angles, both of my angles are going to have the same value of degree. Looking at problem 10, again I have vertical angles. And this says to find the measure of the angles. Well, my angle on the right is 62, and it's a vertical angle to this expression over here. So I really could care less what the value of the expression is. If I'm looking for the measure of angle, I know it's 62 degrees because it is a vertical angle. If you spent time setting 62 equal to 2x plus 3, and then solving for x, and plugging that value of x back into the expression, you're going to get 62 degrees. Remember your vocabulary terms and save yourself a lot of time.